Welcome to the hottest real estate topics on the planet, keeping you up to date with all the creative ways to buy and sell real estate without bank qualifying, so anyone can build real income starting today. Here is another great show with Dealmaker Bill and Pete the Rookie.
All right, here we are in another episode of Flipping Houses for Rookies.
Good morning, Bill.
And here we are again, episode 163.
Bill's like a big blinding blur.
Oh my God, it keeps getting worse.
I think we need new shirts.
New shirts, yeah. I don't even pay attention to that anymore. I'm sure I wear the same shirts all the time. Episode 163, my list of deadly sins in real estate investing.
Ooh.
Yeah. Some of the best investors I know have been avoiding the 10 deadly sins while making their real estate endeavors almost divinely profitable. How's that?
Wow. That's a pretty good word you got there, boy.
Yeah, exactly. In my 12 years, and I don't even know if it's 12 years, I actually think it's more like 15. And I also think that I've been investing for longer than 15 years. I just use 15 as kind of like a circuit.
Oh.
So when I was thinking about it this morning, I'm thinking that's more like 18 years or longer that I've been doing it.
The calendar.
Yeah, whatever. So in my 12 years of coaching some very successful real estate entrepreneurs, it has taught me this shocking truth, Peter. This shocking truth.
It's shocking.
Yes. Most real estate investors put limits on the amount of business that their sellers want to do with them because of the investor's own ideas and thoughts. It doesn't happen by design, of course, but it might as well, because the end result from operating this way is a bit devastating. Countless numbers of closings could be made and are not made. Countless numbers of sellers denied the opportunity to receiving the full satisfying service that we have for them is not there. And I don't want you to miss a single opportunity, you meaning our listeners. I don't want our listeners to miss a single opportunity drawn closer to these sellers and do business with them because they haven't gotten ready and did not try to stop themselves any longer. I'm going to read that again because I kind of changed it. So I don't want I don't want the listeners to have oh my God, I should just read it instead of trying to like talk about it myself. I wrote it, but I want to change the words. To draw closer to these sellers and do business with them because you aren't ready and not trying to stop yourself any longer.
I don't want to do that either, Bill.
Yeah. So let's take a look at the 10 deadly sins in real estate investing.
Is this stuff in our heads?
Oh, yeah.
You know, I think I saw something on Facebook. I can't remember. Some famous person said, "It's all what you think."
Yep.
Wow. Somebody famous, but, Gandhi, Buddha, somebody good.
So let's just jump right in.
Go.
So sin number one. Sin number
Do
one.
not do this.
Not making enough offers.
Oh, yeah.
So I found after working with so many students, the number one fear is having an offer accepted.
Oh, yeah.
So they don't make offers because they're afraid they're going to get accepted. And that almost sounds counterintuitive and a little bit silly. Mostly because the student doesn't know how to pay for the deal. Truth is, the offer is not the closing. Right?
No, not at all.
And the closing means that you own it.
Yeah, well, the offer is the rubber. Closing is hit the road.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And that's like, you can talk about it and theorize and think in your head like how great this is going to be. Then when it hits the road, like, oops.
So the other night on a coaching call, I did something very interesting, which happened completely by accident. Some of the most interesting things I do happen by accident.
Sure.
Okay. I asked my coaching clients, who I think are pretty savvy. Okay. I mean, they're doing a shit ton of business. I mean, I think on the coaching call Friday night, I had, 5 deals I had to analyze. Okay. It took me 3 hours. I mean, there was 5 good, healthy deals. In other words, a coaching client would bring to the table a deal of somebody they talked to, and the group, including me, there was, I think, 17 or 18 of us on the call, which of 80 to 90% of those people have done a deal or are in the middle of doing a deal. So these are not like some like newbies. These guys are like seasoned.
This isn't theory class.
No, this is not theory. We go around the table, and we actually have the person that's presenting the offer or presenting the deal leave the call with 3 offers. So I had 5 of those to do.
Yeah.
Right. So I had 5 students that had deals, and we had to, like talk about them and, ask questions and then give them or suggest to them those 3 offers.
That's awesome.
Okay. So when I talk about this, it's not like I just read about it in a book somewhere. I mean, I do this every single week. I mean, yesterday we were in our live meetup, and I had at least 2 or 3 people come up to me and talk to me about deals.
And problems.
Yeah. So this comes from just a lot of experience. Okay. Here's the number one thing that I find with people not making offers. Let's back up, because I started to say on the coaching call. On the coaching call, I asked them, what's the definition of an offer?
Yeah, that was funny. I listened to that part.
And I was surprised to realize that they didn't know what an offer was.
Yeah, but it's weird when you say that. Before you explain, people think, well, I know what an offer is. But when you get a thorough definition, dissected 2-3 ways from different angles, you really look at it, it gives you like a magnifying glass of what's really happening, so you can make it work better. It's not just a word. It tells you how it should be, how it should work, what should look. There's more in there. So that was smart.
So just look at the word definition.
Yeah.
So it's not a general concept, because a lot of people...
I should look that one up. Wait a minute. Definite. I'm going to go look that up now.
Right. So it's defined. It's like the details of the word.
Yeah.
Right. Like the pieces and the parts of the word that make it up. Because most people will like read text and they'll think that the words in the sentence or the words around the word they don't understand will help them define the word.
Yeah.
And that is true. That's a generalized definition. And it could work, but it's not going to work to the point where you could actually apply the concept of that sentence if you don't understand it.
Yeah.
If you just have a general idea, like, for example, you have a general idea of how to do real estate.
Yeah. Good luck on that.
Right?
Brain surgery, fixing your car, Yeah, I got a general. It's not good.
Every single week I have thousands. We have thousands. 4,000 to 7,000 people a week listen to this episode, or each episode. Okay.
Yep.
And thousands of people listen to us because we give the specifics. We define it. We like get down to the details. It's not just the generality. So your words are the same way. So imagine trying to learn real estate with generalities.
Yeah.
Right? Like, just go do a subject to deal.
Yeah,
okay, well, what are the pieces and the parts? Well, words are the same way. If you understand the pieces and the parts of the words, then you could actually apply it and actually do something with that word.
Sure.
So the word was offer.
Yeah.
What is an offer? Okay, so why don't you take a stab at it?
Well, an offer is you're presenting something to another person to see if they might accept it. And it should be amenable to both of you, or else it wouldn't work at all. So you want to consider both. Present something and see if it's accepted.
Right. So my definition because that's what I got. Well, first of all, I only got one of those. Kat was actually the only one that had a good definition.
Didn't she cheat and look it up?
Probably.
I thought, didn't
I ended up looking it up.
Yeah.
Anyways, my idea of an offer is it's a proposal. I'm proposing to you that I buy your house this way. What do you think? It's a suggestion. It's an idea. And 99 or 97% of the time, we'll say 97% of the time, most people have not heard of the way that I could buy their house. I have to explain it to them. Because the realtor, go to episode number 90, battling the real estate mafia, and you'll get all of that. Okay. The realtor system has created it so that it's done for you.
It's a one size fit all.
Yeah. It's done for you. Just do this and everybody will be happy. And that's not true, because there's a lot of people that are not happy with realtor system.
Yeah.
So they're only left with either selling it on their own, which is too difficult because they don't know how to do it because they've done one house in a lifetime, or they're left with dealing with the realtor indeficiencies.
What?
The realtor indeficiencies.
Right.
Right?
Yep.
So that's where we're at. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So making an offer is a proposal or an idea that they may not have thought about. So you need to, what we call, enlighten them. And the word enlighten means to bring them up to a different level of understanding or a different viewpoint of looking at it. Because you have to realize that everything that you get involved with, you have a way to look at it. Like, for example, if we put a bottle of water in the middle of the table between you and I, you're going to see the side of the bottle of water that I can't see.
Yeah.
And I'm going to see the side of the bottle of water that you can't see.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, we each have our own point of view from where we're sitting.
That's really weird you say that, because it just makes me think of sitting in a home with a person. Like, they see their side of the bottle. We see our side of the bottle.
Totally.
Unless you talk to them, you can't get the whole picture.
Right.
They don't know what we're trying to do. We don't know what they're trying to do. But if you talk to them and get both sides of the bottle,
right,
you might be able to come up with a proposal that works for the whole bottle.
Right.
Not just their side or not just our side.
Exactly.
That's crazy. The bottle, we're going to call that the bottle.
The bottle offer. So here's what, and we're spending a little bit more time on this one because this is the number one thing. So here is the statement that you should, if you're listening to this podcast, should actually pause the podcast right now and get a piece of paper and a pencil, because you should write this down, because this is amazing. Okay. Once you crack this idea, because I was talking about that in the opening, right? Some investors have, they're stopping themselves with these ideas and thoughts, right? So here is the way of thinking that you need to change, okay? Here it is. Making an offer is negotiation. Making the offer is just pure negotiation. Okay?
Yeah.
So you're kind of, quote unquote, and I hate to do it this way because it's not really this way if you're done right, but negotiating is bantering back and forth, looking at your side of the bottle, looking at my side of the bottle. I'm like, well, I see this, and you're like, I see that, and I'm like, I know, but what about this? I see this, and you're like, what about this? I see that. Until you both can agree, oh, yeah, you're right, that is a bottle of water. And you both can agree with, oh, yeah, that can work, right? So negotiation is always considered like a give and take world. Like, if I were to offer you less equity, you're losing, right? And I'm winning, or I'm gaining, right? But that's not true. What you have to do is you have to take a look at that. If you're offering me equity, I'm doing something for you that you're willing to pay me with equity, right? So it's like a paycheck. So it's like I'm solving your problem, or I'm handling something you don't know how to handle or don't want to be bothered with handling.
Yep.
Right? Or point blank can't handle it because you don't have the money or whatever. And I'm going to handle it for you, but it's going to relieve you of some external pressures and internal stress. Right?
Right.
So you're going to give me equity to solve that problem. You're going to pay me. So when we're negotiating with how I can help you and how you can help me, or how you're going to pay me to do it.
Yeah.
Like, I can help you get rid of this house because I'm willing to do this, I'm willing to do that, and I'm willing to do this. And you're like, oh, And then you'll have to decide as the seller, is it worth it for me to give him $20,000 to do that in equity?
Sure.
Which, by the way, equity is like monopoly money because they don't have it in the bank. It's like pretend money. It's like they might get it someday. It's like an over there-ness.
Yeah.
Right. It's like over there, and they can imagine it, but they can't see it and touch it and feel it.
Sure.
Right.
So on our end, we're going, I'm going to buy that house. I'm going to make this much money. I'm going to pay these bills. I'm going to buy that. And on their end, they're going, I'm going to make all this money on the house. And I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that.
Exactly.
These two parties are on different parts of the table, and there's a bottle in between them. Huh?
Right. Right.
And but your job would be to try to help that person get those things he wants.
Right.
And the heart of the problem is, and if you can solve that, you're like the hero.
Right.
We've come in people with all kinds of weird problems and fixed them. And like, you can do that. You can do it that fast. And they're grateful.
Right.
And they save something. It may not be money, but they save something else that's really important to them. Time. They get to get out. They get to go where they need to be.
Mostly it's move on to their new life.
Yeah.
They like want to move on. They're done. They're in a new chapter for whatever reason, and they've already convinced themselves that it's the greatest good for them, and they're going to go. And this house is holding them back. It's like an anchor.
Yeah.
When you find the right prospect.
Sure. And I like to say, you always think a house is this amazing asset. Sometimes it's a problem, and you got to get that.
Right.
Because it's a problem, and you can find that, then you have something to talk about and some way to help somebody.
Exactly.
If it's just perfectly fine, how are you helping them?
Right.
They don't need you.
Right.
So look for trouble.
Right.
You know?
So the bottom line is that most new people will not make offers because they are afraid that when they say something that it's like in stone and they can't back up. So the point that I'll make here is making offers is a negotiating point.
Right.
So you're still trying to sort it out with the seller. So making offers is a very loose, non-committal way of learning real estate. Because if you go into enough houses and you talk to enough people and you start making offers, I mean, I've teased so many times. I'll teach you how to be a master negotiator right now, and you should write this down too. You ready? Here it is. Once you've looked at the house and you've decided that the person's motivated because you're in the house, and once you've looked at the house and decided that the physical portion of the house and the math work for you, okay, you just sit down in their living room and their kitchen table and you say to them, Mr. Seller, what would have to happen for me to buy your house today? And they'll make you an offer. And then you just start. Well, you can't pay full price. Actually, you can't pay full price because if you go use one of our slot deals, our sandwich lease option transfer deals, and if you go to flippinghousesforrookies.com/free stuff, I show you how to do that. Okay? You're on your way. Doesn't have to be that difficult. Right? So, to summarize this, offers are negotiating. So it's okay to go make an offer. Okay, now it's a little different story when you have to like put it down on paper, but you're not at that point yet. No,
you're not there yet. And I watched you yesterday. You were doing a call, something we got, and you went over probably 3 different angles with the guy in just a few minutes. Look, I could do this. No, it doesn't. What if I did that? And then what? No, blah. You just went back and forth. It's like a little bit of give and take.
It's what I call taking his temperature.
Yeah.
Testing him.
Yeah.
To see where he was at.
Yeah.
Right, and then all of a sudden, well, yeah, I might be able to do that.
It's almost like trying to figure out where the hell to go to get food. Like, I don't want pizza. How about this place? What if we did that? No, they don't have it like that. Well, what if we went to this place? They have pizza and grinders and okay, we'll go there.
Right.
You have to go back and forth a little sometime, and it's okay. You don't get one sentence and it's over.
Right.
You can say, well, what about that? And it's more like questions.
And nobody's going to be mad at you if you say, I want pizza.
Yeah, I mean, it's more like almost like asking, could you do this?
Right.
Instead of like, I'll do that.
Right.
End of story, you know? And you get to the point maybe, well, this is the best I can do, and you leave it at that because you still got to draw your line where the deal's a deal for you. Right. No matter what they say, you know where your limit, your strike price is, or whatever those things are, and then you just draw your line. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work, but make the offer, banter back and forth a little.
Right. So just to define that, strike price means your lowest or your last offer.
Yeah, like the highest you would go.
I'm not going to go any more or any less than this, depending on which way you're negotiating. Okay. Good. Number 2. Sin number 2. So I think we've covered making offers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sin number 2. Thinking you need money. Now, they were teasing me last night because one of the podcasts, I have to find it here. I should have wrote this down and I didn't.
What was the topic? What was the topic?
Yeah. Was startling discovery. This is episode number 156. Startling discovery. Money kills real estate profits.
Yeah.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to start off with that. Money kills real estate profits. Okay? As I briefly mentioned in sin number 1, most think that if they make an offer, they have to have the money in the bank or lined up before they make the offer. Truth is, paying cash or using banks to buy real estate is the crudest and least profitable way to buy real estate. Agreed?
Yep.
There are multiple other ways to buy real estate. I know I have 7 just to start with, and you get those at flippinghousesforrookies.com/free stuff. Go look at the videos. Not excluding how I buy using $100 deposit. Now, there were 2 people in our meeting last night. One said he's actually controlling $4 million worth of real estate right now, or has offers in on $4 million worth of real estate right now. Mm-hmm. For $300 deposits. Mm-hmm. That means he's got 3 deals that add up to $4 million. Then there was another student I had in the meeting last night. Mm-hmm. She's controlling a $1 million piece of property that she paid like $940 or promised to pay $940 or $950 or something like that. And they're now in renegotiation to lower that number. Mm-hmm. And she put up $100.
Yep.
So that's $5 million with just 2 students. That's $5 million worth of real estate that's being controlled for $400.
That's right.
So you may think that we're like bullshitting you, but you got to go watch the videos. I mean, just go to flippinghousesforrookies.com/free stuff and you'll see it for yourself. It's just math.
Yeah, but think of it this way too. How much does the realtor pay you to control your property?
Right.
0. So we have more control the way we do it. But it costs $100 or $50, whatever it is. Right. So you could say a realtor controls $10 million of property with nothing.
Right.
And if he doesn't sell it, he goes home.
Right.
So how's the difference? We have $100 or $50 in each deal.
Exactly.
So it's even more than they have.
So the number one mistake most novice investors and a lot of other people make is this. This is the sin. Oh, it makes my stomach turn. Well, I was hungry before I started reading this, and now I got a stomach ache, right? Banks are the only place to get money. Ooh.
Ouch.
So I'm going to rattle off the 4 places that you can get money in my world.
Does it include Guido?
Stop. That's episode number 90, Battling the Real Estate Mafia.
Hey.
First place you can get money, the bank.
Okay, get that out of the way.
Second place you can get money, the hard money lender.
Pseudo bank.
Almost he bank. Pretends like he's
not a
bank, but he has all the bank fees and regulations.
Yeah, we talked to that guy yesterday selling property because he owned it and wanted to get rid of it. We think he foreclosed on it.
Right.
But it's about how much down you're going to put, what percentage, what interest. Jesus.
Right.
Ouch.
Yeah, we're buying a 3-family house. And this guy is actually the lender and repoed it. And he's trying to run his bank crap on me.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah. So I left him. What did I do with him? I kept putting the ball back in his park. Well, you go talk to your boys, and you let me know if you want to accept my offer. But here's my 2 offers.
Yeah.
You take this cash price, or you take this financing. And there you go. Let's start over. The bank is the first place.
The bank.
The second place is the private lender. I'm sorry, the hard lender. Yeah, hard lender. Hard money lender. The third place is a private money lender.
Which is somebody you know.
Right. And they don't charge points and fees, and they don't usually have all the regulations.
Yeah. Hard money's like business kind of guys that you find. Private money's people you know yourself.
Right. And then the fourth place is with your buyer.
The buyer.
And it is so weird to me because if you can't qualify for the bank
To buy a house.
then you or qualify with a hard money lender.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then you have to put yourself in the category of I'm a creative real estate investor, which simply means, to me, it means being clever, because you're going to take the least amount of money you can use to buy the most amount of money of real estate so you can have the biggest monthly checks possible.
Sure.
And if you think that's scammy or that's wrong, then you're listening to the wrong podcast, because I have thousands of students all over the United States that do this and tell me they do it, and it works unbelievable. It's so amazing. Last night, I think I got a text from one of my ex-coaching clients. I called him like a week ago, like, what are you up to? Right? And he's telling me, no. Well, I coached him a little bit, and he sent me a text at 10:10 last night. I'm on our way back from the meeting saying, oh my God, I just got an offer accepted. Now, how do I find the money? Right? So he doesn't realize that opportunity he has is the best opportunity that you can get. Because what most people believe is that you need to have the money to make the offer. But really what happens is when you have the deal, that attracts the money. Right? So money is going to flow to pro-survival activity.
Yeah, well, even just said to somebody, can I borrow some money? They'll go, for what?
Right.
So if you don't have it for what, why are they going to give it to you? Like,
That's true.
For this banging deal.
That's true.
To buy a bottle of booze. No.
Right.
To buy some clothes when you get a job tomorrow. Yes.
Right.
I got this big banging deal. Yes. But for what?
Right. That's a very good point, Pete. I never thought of it like that.
Well, I make it up as I go.
You do?
Yeah.
Oh,
Because I don't know what you're going to be talking about, so I got to just jump in
exactly.
with it. Yeah, no, it's just common sense in a way. I mean, it's not like you can't line people up in advance, if you need bigger deals coming down the line. It's not like you can't seed it a little bit, but
right.
You're not going to ask them for true.
So if you want to learn more about how to get the money for the deal, then you can go to episode number 146, the Flipping Houses for Rookies podcast, episode 146, and it's called How Do I Finance My First Real Estate Deal? Okay, we talk about all the stuff we're talking about now in great detail. Okay, but the thing that I would like to emphasize right now is that so many investors do not use the fourth way to find money, and that's get the money from your buyer. So basically what you're doing is you're doing matchmaking. You're finding a seller that will be willing to wait for you to find the buyer and wait for the buyer to get qualified for the money so they can get their money, and what they get in return is a bigger deal. For example, I got to remember what deal we were talking about. But we were talking about a deal yesterday, and it was like the cash deal was like $130, and I was willing to pay him $175 if he waited. Right?
Yep.
So there was like a $40,000 or $50,000 difference. Right? What deal? Oh, that was the deal you were just talking about.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, well, he started at 130. You're down to 115 cash, but I thought wasn't it 150 or maybe 160?
Yeah. So he started. He said that he had another offer of one. The house is comped at 250. He said he had an offer of 180. He later told me that the offer was really 160. I came in and said to him I would be. Originally, I told him 125. Then I came back and told him 135 because my comp was off a little bit. And that was a cash deal. He has three other people in this probate deal, so there's 4 of them in probate. When I got all done, I said to him, but if you want to wait for the money, I'll pay you more. He said, how much more? I said, I don't know, 40 or 50 grand. Oh, really? And I got his interest. All of a sudden, it turned into, well, I can buy the other 3 people out and just sell it to you myself, right? And I'm like, yeah. See, that's what my point is. Greed glands come out, right? Because he can make an extra. What is he going to do for $40,000 or $50,000? He's going to do a couple weeks worth of work, and it's not even weeks. It's like literally a couple days. I mean, in terms of hours, what's he going to do? 15 hours worth of work, 20 to do the closing. He's not even going to do that much because I'm going to do most of the work.
Yeah.
So he's going to do what, 10 hours or 15 hours? Let's be really, hypercritical and say it's 20 hours.
Ooh, it's terrible. That's terrible.
And he's going to make 50 grand.
Right.
Who wouldn't do that?
Only a person who's desperate for cash right now.
Right.
And people have a little bit of bucks and can wait. It's like an investment.
So all of a sudden, this guy went from, oh, well, we need the money to, oh, well, I could put my hands on 100 or 150 grand, whatever the number. I could put my hands on 120 grand and pay my siblings off. And I would like to make that 50 grand.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's how you find money. All right. You attract it.
Mm-hmm.
And the only way you attract it is to have a deal. And when you get that concept in your head, the whole business changes. So if you can't get money, or you don't know how to find private money, or you don't know how to find a hard money lender, or can't qualify, or if you can't qualify for the bank, then you're left with just do rent to own. You rent to own from a seller,
Mm-hmm.
and do a rent to own with a buyer and just get in the middle. So you do a rent to own from your seller for $100,000 in a $500 payment, and you sell it to your buyer for $110,000 and $700 a month.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that hard. But you need to find, the hardest part is finding the motivated seller, or the seller that's willing to let you wait to get the money from the buyer.
Uh-huh.
And they are out there in droves
Yeah.
if you just look for them.
Yeah. People have a second house, a third house, or they have money and it's just a problem and they don't need the cash right now.
Right.
And they'd rather get more by waiting. It's like they have money in the stock market or in real estate, because it is real estate.
Right.
I've told that to people on the phone. I tell them, well, if you wait, a lot of people would die to have some real estate.
Right.
So why sell it? Hang on to it and make more cash flow.
That's right.
But I'll take care of the problems. You just sit there collecting checks.
That's right. Okay. Sin number 3. Not educating yourself. Otherwise known as real estate ignorant. Okay. Now, I'm not talking about a long, drawn-out Yale education here. I'm not talking about some of my students think they got to study it for 2 or 3 years. Okay. The biggest problem with learning real estate is there's no one way to do it. Right? And everyone has a different twist on how they figured it out, including me, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there isn't, to date, a universal or standard way to invest in real estate. Make sense?
Right. But we still have the general things of leasing, rent to own.
Right.
Owner
Which is what I've
financing.
categorized. I put them in buckets.
Yeah.
And I put math to them.
Yeah.
Which is my next statement is, so knowing this, I follow the math. Right? And once I've learned the math, I was able to put them in these 7 different strategies, or these 7 different buckets that will guide someone on where to start, and at least get into sin number 1, which is making the offer,
Right.
or at least negotiating. Right? So once you understand that, then all of a sudden it takes the methods of buying and selling real estate in one fell swoop and doesn't leave you reeling and spinning and confused. Right?
Right. Well, you know what helped me in the beginning? To realize that when you buy a house, it's not just the price of the house. It depends on, do they owe the entire amount? Do they have it completely paid off? Are they halfway in the middle of half paid,
Right.
half equity? So the amount that they owe on the house, the amount of equity that they might have in the house, makes a difference in what you could do as far as selling it. It's not just the price of the house.
So the
That helped me see
definition
that.
of equity is their profit.
Yeah.
So for some reason, they're trying to sort out what is their profit.
But I don't even know if they do this. When I've talked to some people, all they want to know is the final number. I said, no, but what do you think you're going to get back? Like, they haven't thought it through in a sense. But we have.
And those buyers are motivated with a problem, and they're not worth the money is the lesser of the 2 evils. They just want the problem to go away.
Mm-hmm.
Like I heard you talking yesterday. Some lady had a 6-family house,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And she just was rambling around. Truth is that she said 3 times, "I'm tired of being a landlord."
Mm-hmm.
She said her accountant told her not to sell it because it's a cash cow.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, "Nope." She didn't listen to him. She trumped the accountant and trumped the lawyer because they don't know how she feels.
Yeah, they look at numbers. They don't get in her head, see how it's affecting her life and what she feels about it, and whatever's hitting her.
They don't have to put up with the aggravation.
No, they can just say, "I'll keep it so you can make money and pay me." I don't know.
So these people that are giving her advice are not giving her good advice because there's no empathy. They're not putting themselves in her shoes.
I tell people when you talk to legal guys or attorneys or accountants, just ask for them for the legal advice, not opinion of what I should do with my decisions. Just ask the legal advice.
Right.
And then you make up your decision with your life and your concerns and your emotions.
Right.
It's up to you, not them.
Going back to education, here's what I think. I think that indisputably, education is much cheaper than ignorance. Mm-hmm. Okay, Ron LeGrand says that all the time. Right?
Yep.
However, the school of hard knocks doesn't have to be there if somebody's already plowed the path for you ahead. Okay?
That's right.
So, yeah, you got to spend money on education. But do you have to do it the way a lot of gurus want you to do it? Spend $30,000, $40,000, $50,000. The reason why they're getting you to spend that much money is because they're trying to get your attention so that you do it.
Yeah.
It's not because I mean, obviously, some of them might want to get rich off you too, but the real reason is they want you. There's a philosophy that if you don't spend enough money, you won't do it.
Yeah, if it doesn't, well, it hurts to do this a little bit. You have to struggle with some things and learning curves and confronting things and talking to people in situations you're not used to. It's a little uncomfortable sometimes, but you want to be a bazillionaire. You know, just hand it to you. So the pain of the money you paid gets you over those humps. Like, honey, we need to do this. You got to pay it back.
So our philosophy here is that we teach you how to find sellers, right? And we teach you how to get going so you're actually in the real estate business. Because I got news for you. Being in the real estate business means only one thing to me. Only one thing. There's a test. When I have a new student come to me to an event or wherever, like last weekend we were in New Jersey on an event, right? You saw what happened. How many people come up to me and start talking to me? Once they found out I flipped a few hundred houses, what happens? It's like a magnet, right? So
what does this guy know?
Here's the test for me. How many offers do you make? And that's it. That's the test of whether you're a real estate investor or not. If you're making offers, you'll buy real estate. If you're doing everything else but making offers, then you're something else.
Bill, are you saying that you don't make a hit if you don't swing?
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Keep swinging, folks.
So the bottom line is that what you need to be educated on is how to find a motivated seller and make an offer, because that's what's going to make you successful in real estate, is to talk to motivated sellers. So the education should be on the emphasis of the marketing and finding the deals, and then knowing how to call out the bad ones, the suspects, which we have right here. You don't need anything more than what we have right here. You can go to all the other gurus you want. You can go spend your $30,000 or $40,000 or $100,000 or whatever, and then come back to me, which I've had probably 30% of my coaching group have been somewhere else and spend $25,000 or more to learn how to buy real estate, and came to me so they could do their first deal. At least 25% of my coaching group.
No, I personally believe that you should spend some money, but you should take what you spent and go do something with it and start making some money back, and then spend a little more.
The point that I'm making that I forgot to make, because I got wrapped up in my own words there, is why not do a slot deal? Make $3,000 or $4,000, $5,000, and then take some of that money and buy some more education so you get a little better at it. So the way to educate yourself is to get enough knowledge to be dangerous. Go do a deal, which it's not hard to do. I mean, my How to Buy Real Estate Without a Loan course for $500, you don't need anything else. Just go do that course. I mean, Emma's made a valid point the last couple of meetups. It's like, you don't need me, you don't need the podcast, you don't need anything else. You just need what's in that course, and just go do a deal and make $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $10,000. I can't even count how many clients that have done that. I've had them make all the way from $1,000 all the way up to $250,000 a year off of that course.
Yeah,
it's all there.
Yeah,
it's just laid out for you. It's simple. It's easy. I get raving results off of it.
Right? I think what makes it easy is you show people how to find someone that maybe having difficulty selling a house just because of the circumstances, that the course solves that problem. And then you're selling to people who can't buy a house because they can't afford the mortgage, but you let them in the house on the rent-to-own system, and they can buy it.
Right.
So you're solving two problems that people are stuck with, and you have an easy solution. All you got to do is find them. And I'll tell you, the first time you put an ad to like find somebody to buy a house on a rent-to-own, you're going to be shocked how many people call. I've done marketing. I've done little business here and there, and I've had people call. I've done ads, and I've had people come for this or that, the other business. This one, they just call.
Right.
You know, because look around. Look how many houses there are. Look how many people there are. They need to be in houses. Yeah. So it's
I sold a house last year, and I'll never forget it because it's like I put my marketing out, and I've had the most amount of response I got from it is I've never seen this happen before in Clinton.
Well,
the name of the city. I've never seen this. I've never seen. I didn't know you could buy a house like this in
Clinton.
Clinton.
Yeah. People's reaction.
Yeah, it's no buying with no bank qualifying. Right?
Yeah.
All right. So in summary, before we leave education, I'm gonna let the cat out of the bag. And I don't want you to think this is a too simple of a datum that you think that it's just don't gloss over it.
There's power in simplicity.
Yeah. So here's the secret in education. If you find a motivated seller, you don't need to be that educated. They will suck you through the deal. They'll pull you through the deal because they're so damn motivated. They don't care that you make mistakes or errors or you need to go get help. They don't care. They'll wait until you do it because you are the only knight in shining armor in their life right now. So if you find the right motivated seller, your education level is not important. And you'll get through one or two deals, fumbling through your deals like that without me or without somebody like me, without any education, and you will pay for it in the mistakes you make. But you could do it that way. The idea is to get educated on finding a motivated seller and then a few little simple details after that, and it's not that hard.
You know, you shouldn't have to tell people that you should get educated, but actually talk to a person who says he wanted to learn it on his own.
Yeah.
And I looked at him and said, my God, he's a professional person who went to school to learn how to do his job, but he wants to learn this one kind of winging it. Right. And he already bought a building, sold it, didn't work out too good. No.
Imagine if you had to get surgery from a doctor that wanted to learn it on his own, a surgeon that wanted to learn it on his own. Imagine having a lawsuit that you did nothing wrong but would cause you to go to jail for 20 years.
Oh, I wasn't that bad.
And having an attorney that didn't go to school and he wanted to learn it on his own. I mean, we're talking about real estate. The real estate, by the way, supersedes the surgeon and the lawyer. My lawyer tells me all the time he's going to learn about what I do because I make more money than he does.
Yeah. Yeah, we get those. The accountant.
And he went to school.
Yep.
Now I'm telling you, you can't learn this. This is the top of the food chain, and you think you're going to do it without education? I don't think so. Sin number 4: we are definitely not on time.
Wait, how many
4,
are there?
There's 10. So the rest of them will. Thinking that you're in the real estate business.
Oh, yeah. Okay, go ahead. I got you.
So it's not what you think it's going to be because it's not marketing.
Oh,
Thinking
go ahead,
you're in the real estate business. I can tell you this. I have been to hundreds of closings. Never once have I seen the house sign the documents. Never once.
If you do, let me know.
Right. My point, we're in the people business, not the house business. We're in the situation business, not the house business, especially if you don't qualify for a bank loan and you have to be a creative real estate investor.
Yeah.
Okay. Which simply means that you'll learn how to use as little money as possible to do the most amount of deals as you can and make as much profit monthly as possible. This is a millionaire mindset.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, you got it.
So last night at the meetup, we were talking about texting people. If you have a problem with talking to people, then start by texting. at least get a conversation going.
Yeah, you can do 2-3 texts back and forth, and you'll find out that they're interested and they want to talk to you, so then you can talk to them.
Right. So here's what I have found about people that don't like talking to people. Here's my observation about people that say, oh, I'm shy. Oh, I don't like talking to people. Oh, I don't like to speak in front of a room. Okay? It comes down to, obviously, confront. Okay? But I lost my train of thought. Son of a bitch.
Well, what it comes down to?
What it comes down to is, oh, there it is, is they don't like confrontation. They don't like confrontation.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, these are the type of people that don't like to be to have resistance. They're looking for the easy way in life. You know, no,
the kind of person that just goes along.
Yeah.
Instead of,
they won't speak up. They won't tell you. They're the people that are like in the group that never tell you what the feelings are, and then all of a sudden one day they blow up because they can't take it anymore because the internal pressure of trying to make everybody happy,
except themselves,
breaks. So they don't want confrontation.
Yeah, well,
they're low confrontational people.
Conversation will be fine unless somebody says something.
So they think if they talk to do some cold calling, or they think there's going to be confrontation there, and they don't want to confront that. And that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, I get it.
Okay, so sin number 4 is thinking you're in the real estate business, but really you're in the people business. Technically, you're in the marketing business, which is finding those people that are motivated. But I feel like it's more
the marketing.
People business.
The marketing is to find the people.
One of the things, that's right. One of the things I do when I'm qualifying for my coaching group, because you just can't get in my coaching group. You have to talk to me, and we have to spend an hour on the phone, and I don't want to poison my coaching group because the coaching group has expanded so much. I mean, now not only do we have a WhatsApp where we communicate with one another, and the deals they make with one another is unbelievable. Now, one of the guys in my coaching group has started a second call during the week where they actually get on the phone and they do role playing with one another. That is absolutely unbelievable. I mean, the amount of value that my coaching group is right now is, I'm just dumb for not charging more money.
Yeah.
But these guys have created their own community, because I've allowed them to communicate. I've allowed them to get on WhatsApp, and I've allowed them, it's not on Facebook, nothing like that. It's all done on our phone. And the amount of conversation they have between one another and the amount of suggestions and help is just phenomenal. The support is above amazing. It's just above amazing.
It's like, it reminds me of being like in a war or something, when you have your guys in your squad and everybody's really watching each other's back.
You're right.
Yeah. They're like a team.
Right.
And it's not a war, but it's kind of a battle where they're trying to succeed at something. There's obstacles and there's hills to take.
Yep.
And how do you handle that? What do you do when this happens? Oh, I got a guy and I got mold, or I got a guy, whatever it is. Well, why don't we practice that? What should we say? And they support each other because they're in it together too. They're really good guys. I love them all.
Totally. Me too. Sin number 5. Prospects versus suspects. So this alone will distinguish the difference between success and failure. A prospect is a motivated seller, not a desperate seller, like in foreclosure. There's a difference. I'm talking about they have a house causing them pain and want relief, but it's not a fire sale. And you were the one that came up with that. They have a house that is causing them pain, and they just want relief.
Yeah, well, people think a house is an asset. Sometimes it's a problem.
Yeah.
Just situations.
Although these prospects are the minority among sellers, it behooves you to know how to find these folks and deal with them for your success. Every time, every single time, without doubt, 100%, when I talk to a student who wants to give up, or has tried to turn real estate into income and didn't make it, it always comes down to they were dealing with too many suspects. They did not have the technology of learning how to weed out the suspects and hone in on the prospects. They didn't have that exact technology, and it is an exact technology.
Yeah, it's not that obvious. A lot of times the suspects want to sell their house, and they'll say, "Oh, I really want to sell it," and they'll say things to you that make it sound good, but they're not willing to work with you to be flexible.
What they're willing to do is to get $200,000 for their $190,000 house. That's what they're motivated
They're all about
to
themselves, and they're just looking at their half of the bottle, and they don't
Right.
care about your half. It's all about them, and
Exactly.
they're not gonna. It's not going to turn out well for them, but you don't have to wait for that to happen.
Suspects kill and wipe out lives. They really do. When I speak of sin number 3, the education part that we were talking about, the biggest part of it is coming into this industry and knowing the difference between a prospect and a suspect and how to find the prospect and shed all the crap off your back, right?
Yeah.
To get to the prospect, right? I don't know why this just popped in my head, but this is like when a turtle lays eggs on a beach, right? And all the little turtles have to go through whatever they have to go through to get off the beach into the water and survive somebody not eating them until they get big enough where they're not food.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And that's what this is like. It's like you need to go through that process to be able to get into the deal. Right. So again, if you're not, you can try to figure it out on your own, or you can get educated. Why not get educated in a week? Know how to do it, and then go do it. But I will tell you that even realtors don't use a prospect suspect formula. They attempt to. The only way that I know that they use it is if you want to buy a property, you have to show them a pre-qualifying letter.
Oh, for the buyers.
Yeah. But other than that, there is no.
Would they need one for sellers?
You want to hear the craziest thing in the world? This is so beyond me that it almost pops my head off my shoulders. Up until just recently, and I mean in the last year, I've sold a lot of houses. Okay? I can't tell you how many times I've sold a house with a realtor. They sign a contract with me as the owner, but never go to the town hall and check the deed to make sure I own the property. And then get to a closing and find out I don't own the property. Somebody else does. Like if I'm on an option or something like that.
Oh.
They never ask me. I usually tell them because I know that it's coming, but they don't ask me if I own the property. They just assume that I own my property. You get it?
They don't say whose name's on the deed.
I'm a suspect. For them, I'm a suspect. If I don't own the property, I'm a suspect because they can't close. They can't get their fees. So they go through 3 months worth of work and can't close because they never checked the first step. Was my name on a deed? Isn't that crazy?
Totally.
It's like insane. Here's another one. They never ask me how much I owe on the house. To make sure that they're going to get enough income to cover all the expenses and get them their fee.
Yeah. If you owe too much, there's not enough, nothing left for the closing costs.
And who gets cut out first?
They don't ask that at all?
No. Now, some sharp realtors, like the last one I used, asked a couple of questions. So who when the money gets to the table?
Yeah. What happens at the closing?
The realtors are the first ones to get the chop because they
go through the whole closing.
Yeah,
and what does the seller the seller do? Just like claim ignorance,
right? They didn't know that all the selling because the cost to sell wasn't gone over with them in the beginning, and they didn't know it was going to cost them that much money, and so the taxes are going to get paid, the insurance is going to get paid, the lawyers are going to get paid, the banks are going to get paid.
They go through with the deal; it doesn't just blow up.
Well, sometimes they do. The hit list is the realtor will short the deal and take some money just to get paid because they've spent 3 months working.
Yipes!
You would think that they would ask that question first, right? Prospect, suspect.
Yeah.
Know the difference. Know who you're dealing with. Know who can close. End of story.
Okay.
Sin number 6. Deal hunting with blindfolds on. If you can't find a deal, well, you're dead in the water. Get out of the business. You can't do crap without a deal.
Well, yeah.
If you can't find a deal, well, you're dead in the water.
Go back to telling us how to find a deal then, Bill.
Real estate success isn't some magical mystery that has weird hidden ideas. It's not. Actually, it's so simple and under your nose, you're missing it. Let me explain. All you need to be successful in real estate investing is to find and make offers to a motivated seller. That's it. Master that, you will have more than you need with everything you want. And eventually you'll be doing deals. If you just find. So all you need to be successful in real estate investing is to find and make offers to motivated sellers. That's it. But most think they need to learn deal structuring first, or how to scout out the money, and a bunch of other strange theories. The main thing you need to know is to be extremely successful. You need to know to be extremely successful in real estate investing is you need to be in the marketing business, not the real estate business. Finding sellers, finding buyers, and when needed, finding money is where millions and millions of dollars is made. So going back to sin number 2, I think it was, where it's education. No, sin number 3. Yep. Sin number 3 is education. What you should get educated on is how to find a motivated seller.
Yep.
The rest will come. So don't do it with blindfolds on, because you're not gonna like the results. Sin number 7. Pretty houses or ugly houses. How many realtors do we run into, how many real estate investors do we run into and don't categorize the business like that?
Yeah, it's two different things.
Right? Unfortunately, most of the real estate investing world has been naively taught that you should buy low and sell high, or buy the ugliest house in the prettiest neighborhood. And this is the cleverest strategy to making the most amount of money. Except everybody knows it.
Yeah. Well, it's a kind of a no-brainer.
Right. Only because these shallow investors have not taken the time to be educated. Because if they did, they would know there is way more profits and way more deals trading with pretty houses than ugly houses. This is real estate. This is real estate that doesn't need repairs. Very often doesn't need financing, and most important, isn't noticeably. These houses aren't noticeable from the curb.
Yep,
from the street curb.
Just the house.
It's just another pretty house.
Not the boarded up house, not the house with the grass and the sign on the window.
So how many times have you and I know for me for sure, but you and I have bought a house and the neighbors come up and they tell you, oh, I didn't know the house was for sale. If I known that, I would have bought it. Right? Well, of course.
Yep.
But you didn't do the work. They weren't educated on deal hunting. They weren't educated on figuring out how to do it. And guess what? They're Monday morning quarterback and saying, I would have bought the house.
Oh, sure.
Right?
Hindsight, 2020. No, we've even had people, you send them a letter, do some more marketing, and they say, how'd you know I was thinking of selling my house?
Right.
Clairvoyant. I don't know what I'm supposed to say. Stab.
Actually, when I got to my desk this morning, my crystal ball had your name all over it.
Yes.
So I sent you a letter.
With the other 99.
Yeah, exactly. These real estate transactions that we're talking about with pretty houses, they're people that have problems that need to be solved. Solved. Problems that need to be solved, right? So very often, money can't fix these problems. Like that's why the realtor, everyone fits. Fits. What'd you say? It fits,
The one shoe fits all.
Yeah, one shoe fits all. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like socks. Damn it.
Right. And that's why the realtor system doesn't work, because a lot of times money can't fix it. People don't want to do the work, or they want to deal with the aggravation. They don't want to clean the house. Like this house that we were talking about earlier, where I was talking about the dude that I made the offer, the $50,000. I've said to him like 15 times, literally 15 times, I got to tell you the problem with this house. What's that? It needs like 7 dumpsters to clean it out. The guy was a pack rat. The seller, it's a beautiful house. The upstairs where they live is fine. The basement, oh my God, he had a workshop down there. He lived there for 60 years. Right? One dumpster, I'm going to tell you, one dumpster is just going to be steel with all of his metal tools and little motors and, you know, all that kind of stuff. It's like, it's ridiculous.
Call the scrap man.
Exactly. So when you do what we're talking about, okay, you could actually, which most people don't know this, to end off on this one, okay, most people don't know this, but you can actually make up to 12 profits on one deal. 12 profits, and most people don't know that. I'm going to see if I can find this podcast here. So I'm not going to find it easily. Oh, episode number 136 on the Flipping Houses for Rookies podcast is how to make 12 profits from flipping one house. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So pretty houses make up to 12 profits. Ugly houses make 1 profit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. By the way, it takes a long time with pretty houses to rehab them and everything. The 12 profits I'm talking about, you can start making them within a week.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we're talking to a broker 2 days ago, and in one town there's at least 100 and some houses on the market, and only a few are renovated.
Right.
And the rest are just houses. So they're selling. You don't have to renovate everything to make it look like a TV show.
Yep.
So people will just absolutely buy them. Even the ones who don't need the rent-to-own deal, they'll just buy them that way and just live in them, do whatever.
Yep.
So
do it as they go.
Yeah, and a rent-to-own guy, he's even more grateful for that house because he has his issues to get into a house, and you're helping him.
Good. Sin number 8. Moving along. Lack of presenting multiple offer variations. How's that for a mouthful? Lack of presenting multiple offer variations. The great Dan Kennedy, he's a marketing guru. The great Dan Kennedy, he is an amazing guy, says this: there's a person for every price and a price for every person. Now, even though he's talking about that with marketing, it is so true with real estate. So I'm going to repeat it. There is a person for every price and a price for every person. So this is extremely true in our creative real estate investor world. The truly talented creative investor knows that each deal could have the potential of 3 main profits. 1, money now. 2, money later. 1, money now. 2, money monthly. 3, money later. And when you understand these 3 pillars of profit, the investor can decide exactly how much time he can spend on each deal. Only because he knows that very often there are that there is more money in the money than in the real estate. And terms are much higher return than straight equity now. The evidence of this is how banks have all the money, because they do terms deals with us all the time, otherwise known as mortgages.
Loans.
So just to quickly cover this, one of the things I teach my coaching clients is when you're evaluating a deal, you get a deal that comes in and you're evaluating a deal. If it's something like a slot deal, which is a sandwich lease option transfer, and if you want to know how to do that, go to flippinghousesforrookies.com/free stuff, and there's a video there, okay, or several videos for free. And you're making $3,000 on a deal. all you're doing is getting a fee for selling an option contract. You're going to buy an option contract from a seller and sell it to a buyer. Well, you can't spend 3 months on this deal. You got to like get in and out in 30 days. You got to spend like 10 or 15 hours, if that, because you're only making $3,000. In fact, 10 or 15 hours. I prefer to do 5 hours, but you're going to spend little time, as opposed to doing a renovation and making $60,000. Now you can spend more time on it because you're making $60,000. Or like I have a deal that I just did, I don't know, a few months ago, where I made $15,000 up front. I make $1,000 a month on payments, and I have $90,000 in the back end. Okay, that's a deal worth spending time on. You could spend endless hours.
But that didn't take you even that long. The crazy thing is, it didn't.
Right.
And it's not, you don't have the money today, but that's money in the bank.
Right.
And you finish that deal, then it's just sitting there in motion.
Right.
Now, then you go do another one.
Right.
Then you do another one, and then they'll pop. They pop like every few months. One of those pops. Every few months, another one pops. Chunk of money.
Exactly.
And you got like future.
Yep. Okay. So, lack of presenting multiple offer variations means that you have to keep making variations of the money now, money monthly, money later formula. And if you use my 7 strategies that we talk about at flippinghousesforrookies.com/free stuff, then you can kind of maneuver the deals to work for you and the seller so that everything works out. Okay? And that's a talent.
Yep.
And the only way you're going to do that is make enough offers. Sin number 9. Perceiving the wrong, dangerous environment.
Meaning?
So many have told me they want to start in the foreclosure business or start with wholesaling houses. Here the investor is only thinking about his or her problem, not considering the seller side of the negotiations. Again, with the lack of education, you would not know that dealing with these desperate situations are themselves dangerous. So I don't deal with those. But here's the point. Knowing the strong difference between a motivated seller and a desperate seller is the difference between a high school diploma and a 4-year Yale diploma. One makes minimum wage, the other makes a doctor's salary. Okay? So people think that when they go to the bank and they're trying to buy a house from the bank, that the bank is in a dangerous situation and they need the money. That's the most obvious example I could give you. And they don't. The bank is making the money out of thin air and they don't need it. And if you want to know all about that, then go listen to episode number 162 called The Creature from Jekyll Island, and it will explain all of that. There's actually a lecture from the guy that wrote the book, and you'll get that concept.
In spades. In spades. Oh, my God.
So what you realize is that, so many times I hear, well, there was a foreclosure, and they owed 180, right? And I'm offering them 170. They should take their money, right? Or they owed 130.
They should take their lumps.
Yeah, they owed 130, and I'm offering them 140. Why wouldn't they want their money back? Because they know that they can make 190. Okay, so what happens is investors perceive or do not spend time trying to figure out what is the dangerous environment. More to the point, it doesn't even have to be dangerous environment. What is motivating the seller to sell the house? And you came up with that some time ago. You have them scan back in their mind and say, when did you decide to sell the house? Okay, what was happening at that point? Because whatever was going on in their life, like they lost their husband, or they got divorced, or mom passed away and now they have a house. There's something that happened right before they decided to sell the house. And selling the house was the solution for that problem. So if you get them to scan back and say, when did you decide to sell the house? Okay, what happened right before then? And then they'll tell you, and once they tell you, then at that point you can help them solve that problem.
Yeah, and it's really real at that point because they just really are looking at what happened and they know what they were thinking and what they wanted to do. And a month might have gone by, a year could have gone by, and they're still stuck with it. But that's just the real story.
Right.
So you know what you're really trying to help them with.
Right. So the point that I'm trying to make here is that thinking that you know what the dangerous environment or the motivated environment is incorrect to do. You need to do your homework. You need to be educated. You need to know what questions to ask. And it's not hard. You just need to know what questions to ask. And you will find that out. Okay? Sin number 10, and the final one, not knowing the universe secret in real estate. I saved the best for last. I'm just going to read this because I don't want to pretend like I have it memorized. It took me a little bit to sort this out when I was writing it. Okay?
Go for it, Bill.
The primary difference between making huge deals and mediocre deals is the art of presenting the offer correctly. There are two ways to handle deal structuring or handle making offers and deal structuring. Okay? Number one, by educating the seller's viewpoint with the proper placement of communication and ways to do things, thus allowing the seller to move his decisions and responsibilities so it benefits him more than he was aware prior to the proposal made. It's a little long-winded, but it's got a lot of power, right? By educating the seller's viewpoint with the proper placement of communication and ways to do things, thus allowing the seller to move his decision and responsibilities so it benefits him more than he was aware prior to the proposal made. Or number two.
That's good, Bill. Sounds like a dictionary. Good job.
Yeah. Number two, by just dealing with the raw aspects of the physical universe and its perceived value, which leaves us with lots of opinion on the true worth and less personal value.
Say that one again.
Yeah. Number two, by just dealing with the raw aspects of the physical universe and its perceived value, which leaves us with lots of opinion on the true worth and less personal value. So basically, in a verbose way, as I'm saying, you can work with the mind and the ideas and the thoughts of your seller, or you can deal with the physical universe like this is a bottle of water, it's worth $1. And that's it. You pick one or the other. So what I'm saying is that you're much better off and you're much more profitable dealing with a seller and his ideas and his concepts than you are dealing with just the house, right? So, I mean, think about it. What does an executive really do? He deals with the minds and the thoughts of his employees, right? He deals with how they communicate and where they communicate, right? He deals with, the ideas and concepts they have, right? And what does a worker deal with? He deals with his raw materials,
his stuff,
and he bangs out his press, pachoom, 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 or he sells his house, but he deals with his raw materials, right?
Yep.
There's a difference, I tease because when I volunteered at church one time, and the girl that I work with, we tease all the time. It's like, I wish all my job was just to be reception. You just pick up the phone and you handle it. It would be like Simple Simon instead of dealing with everybody's agreements or disagreements. Because I'll tell you right now that if you're having trouble in your life, you need to find the silent disagreements in your life. If you have people that aren't doing deals with you, or if you have family members, or if you feel there's turmoil in a group, whether it be your family or the church or wherever, there's silent disagreements in there. And the only reason why somebody leaves a job, is because there's silent disagreement on what management is doing. So the reason why I bring this up is because this is exactly what happens when you start doing deal structuring. The people that ghost you and don't call you back had silent disagreements with what you were saying. and they didn't have the balls to tell you.
They're going, yep, no, I understand. Oh, yeah, that's nice.
Shoo you out the door, and
sure.
that's it.
Thank you very much. I'll call you back.
Right.
Yeah, sure.
So there's silent disagreements in there. So knowing how to deal with the psychology is much better than knowing how to deal with the raw house itself. Because dealing with the psychology of the human being who's going to sign the documents is much more profitable than just trying to deal with, like, it's got 13 shutters and 4 basements and 2 stoves and 5 chimneys, right? Anybody can do that. That's just a mathematical calculation. Not many people can deal with the psychological aspect of buying and selling real estate. And we help you a lot with that. I mean, I know we talk about that a lot. It's the psychology of it.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, it's the difference between a creative real estate investor buying pretty houses and a wholesaler buying ugly houses for pennies on the dollar. It's much harder to do the latter of the two. Okay?
Definitely. I don't know if I should even ask this, but do you think there are some people that would be better prone to be able to do that and some that maybe just aren't cut for it? Or, I mean, what do we do with that one?
It comes down to education. It comes down to the ability to actually train yourself. It's the ability to observe. And the good thing about us is I'm not even asking you to educate yourself. All I'm asking you to do is borrow my stuff and go do it. That's really what I'm asking you to do. Is just go look at my stuff, borrow it, and go use it. I'm not even asking you to learn it. I mean, my coaching clients, when they buy my coaching, I give them my presentation pack.
Yeah.
It's at a point now where here's a presentation pack that's worth $10,000, right? Oh, by the way, I don't, just in case, because I know you're probably not going to use it. Here's a video that I did that's actually me making the presentation. So just take this video, download it onto your iPad or onto your laptop, and just go into the house and say, my mentor or my partner explains this much better than I do, and push the button and wait 37 minutes while I sell the house for you in the house. Or while I sell the seller on how to sell, whatever I'm trying to say there.
Yeah, well, you're helping the student in the house with the seller.
I'm making the deal for them.
Yeah, but even when people are calling on the phone, they're using the script that you refined and refined and refined, and they're just saying you can text the exact words on the thing. If you vary from that, you'll lose because they're really well done. So it's almost like don't get educated, just follow instructions.
Just borrow my stuff and just go do it.
Bill, you gotta make a new book. It's like a cooking recipe.
Yeah,
because it's really just follow the recipe.
Right. That's all it is.
Yeah.
So all you're doing is just go and follow our steps, and it'll happen. And I have, and by the way, the How to Buy Real Estate with a Loan is exactly that. That's our flagship stuff.
Yeah.
And we have some new stuff coming out, but that's the flagship stuff for right now.
Yep.
Okay. So we ran over again today. Yeah.
No.
But I think that we definitely got the 10 sins. I think we've covered some stuff, and I had fun. How about you? We didn't laugh and joke around, but we definitely got our point across. So, last thing I want to say is reviews. Please send us some reviews. Do a review. Please, please, please. I need reviews, especially on iTunes. We are top 10 with both podcasts, this podcast and Flipping Houses Startup Bootcamp, which is a podcast we did that takes you step by step on setting your business up and getting deals and selling houses. It's actually 6 seasons, and we just finished a workbook for that, which we're going to be releasing here pretty soon, which is pretty amazing. 60 days. If you spend 45 minutes to an hour a day we give you the exact things to do every day. It's like a calendar. It's like, okay, day 1, do this. Day 2, do that. Day 3, do this. And it's all kinds of, it's not just, it's like listen to the podcast, read this. It's not just that.
Well, the way you have it set up is, to me, as an educator, the perfect setup where you learn a little bit of something and then you do something. You learn a little bit about the next step and then you do it.
Right.
So you can just read all about it, study. You read a little bit, you learn, and you do it.
Right.
That's the best way to go.
Exactly. So if you enjoy our stuff, if you don't enjoy our stuff, I don't care. Just go give us a review. iTunes is the best, but do it on whatever platform. And I really appreciate that. Pete really appreciates that. It's kind of like our report card, because we just are constantly outflowing. We don't know whether you like our content or like us or any of that until you tell us.
But that was funny. We had the meetup last night. Fellow walks in and goes, "Hi, Pete." And I went, "Hi. What's your name?" "Roberto." "Okay." I'm thinking, "Hey, Roberto, you listening?" And I thought maybe he'd been to a couple, meetings. I'd missed them and didn't remember. But I said, "Oh no, I listened to the podcast." He'd driven 3 hours from New Jersey. Yep. It was so cool.
He's listening because he listens to all the podcasts.
So just the point is that people listen all over the place,
and we don't know that.
And then once in a while, somebody comes in and says hi. They go, "Oh, really? Well, good." Because just you in the basement here in our studio, we don't know,
right.
But we see the numbers on how many people listening. But that's just numbers. But once in a while, we get to hear from people, get the support tickets,
right.
Get the reviews, and then meet some people driving in from Pennsylvania, Virginia, New Jersey, Massachusetts, Connecticut, New York, Rhode Island. They come.
Totally.
Texas.
Yeah. So please give us a review and let us know how we're doing. And that's all I have to say. We're out.
Thanks for tuning in to the hottest real estate topics on the planet with Bill and Pete. If you want to continue learning how to buy and sell real estate without money or credit, head over to flippinghouses.club for some cutting-edge real estate wealth tools. Or contact us at info@flippinghouses.club.